goes on to by information, friend from south, and they would find around everybody.
And it was not morning for the new.
You worked in the.
Figure out how to,
What do you want me to? So probably just.
Another example. So we gave it to.
To find.
Armors. Water main within those. The water main, but our expense.
We want to go to you the introduction of what.
I'll hand it off to it and give a great preliminary statement. We'll go from you when you're done.
It's an iron.
Just give a brief summary.
Yes, please.
That's
You guys have any questions?
Yes, please. All right.
Walking on. Did you have you passed that out?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hi, we're going to start.
Okay.
Good evening. Welcome to the special meeting of the Grosse Pointe Farm City Council. We very much appreciate all of your attendance tonight. First, I'd ask Director Hutchins to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Assistant City Manager, City Clerk Kozicki, please call the roll.
Councilmember Conrad Wolverine,
Here.
Councilmember Ritchie,
Here.
Mayor Dooley,
Here.
Councilmember Donovan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Strolley.
Here.
Councilmember Jensen.
Here.
Thank you very much. This first call to order, a public hearing regarding proposed Village Market parking lot, lot reconfiguration and street alignment. And I would advise everyone watching and everyone here tonight that the intent of the meeting this evening is to allow Village Market and city administration to present the Village Market's most recent parking lot and street configuration plan. Essentially, this is a very, very preliminary site plan review. No vote will be taken tonight. No formal action other than possibly some referrals for regarding existing questions or work that needs to be done will be taken up. But again, no vote will be taken tonight. No specific approval will be given tonight. And if City Council does wish to move forward, the next step would be to place this matter on a future agenda for preliminary site plan approval. And with that, I would first call on Matthew Baca, our Director of Buildings and the like, to please give us and you a summary of the most recent version of the parking lot and street realignment plan. Mr. Baca, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. So as you stated, this is a preliminary site plan review to look at potential realignment of McKinley and reconstruction of the parking lot that services Village Market. As everybody is fully aware right now, McKinley runs directly adjacent to the building with a few parallel parking spots. What they would like to do is shift their current private parking lot across McKinley to make it adjacent to the building and redirect traffic to the other side of the parking lot. The idea being that they would increase safety for their patrons to the restaurant or to the market, and potentially slow down traffic on McKinley. And generally, the goal is to improve circulation throughout the whole site. This is probably the third iteration of this in my 7 years here. So we did have it reviewed by McKenna. There are several questions posed in that. And I believe that, you know, we're going to have it reviewed and have already begun reviewing of the other departments in the city. And we have some other questions for the applicant and the engineers when the time is appropriate.
And do you mind stepping up to the diagram, please, that everyone may not have seen, and to show everyone the proposed parking lot reconfiguration and the street reconfiguration?
So, yeah, right now, McKinley essentially comes straight through here. These
Getting in the way.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna do this side. McKinley comes straight through here. These parking lot spaces are not there right now as it accesses to Mac. So what they would do, if you're coming down McKinley, you would get to the alley, you'd have to make a right-hand turn, and then make a left-hand turn to get out to Mac. To access the parking lot, you would have to come in off the Mac, over McKinley. This direction is gonna be circulating counterclockwise. Come in through the top entrance, go around and come out this way, where you could go either direction to get back to the neighborhood or to get out to Mac Avenue.
We're going to have public questions in just a few minutes, if you would. Everyone will have, definitely have a chance to ask questions, to make comments, things of that nature. Anything else that you'd like to highlight, Mr. Baca?
So now the sidewalk connection, instead of going straight down the old McKinley, you would cross here and go across out to Mac to give people an opportunity not to have to go around the whole parking lot if you want to go west towards Fisher. And then, then there are the additional parking spots here, which will go all the way down to exit out by Moran.
And can you discuss on their preliminary plan what landscaping they would have in the current existing parking lot across McKinley that is unpaved right now? What are their plans for that, please?
So here you have a shorter fence and some bushes to visually screen the parking lot, which is required by the ordinance. They also have landscaping here and here, and then a fence along this route. There are some comments about that in the report. And the intent is to try and shield the parking area from drivers by and the people in the neighborhood.
And under the current configuration pictured, how would delivery trucks enter Village Parking Lot's alley? Would it be off of Moran, east to McKinley?
Again, I think this is something that's up for discussion. They would probably come out Moran this way. As you know, right now, this turn is almost impossible for a truck to make. I think essentially it's impossible. And I think one of the benefits of shifting the parking lot over would be then you have a 90-degree turn and people could come out this way. And I know in the past we had discussed no left turn out of the alley, which I know we had a few comments from the public on that they'd like to make sure that that's still part of the plan.
Thank you. Any other comments that you'd like to make before I ask the city manager and then Mr. Carmel?
If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Mr. Reside, any preliminary comments, sir?
No, again, I think there are some questions raised, more of the mechanics of how this all works in terms of, who constructs the parking lot, when it's constructed, who pays for the construction. Those are things that I think have been discussed previously and would be part of a memorandum of understanding. I have shared kind of what we've distributed in the past, but really that will be kind of the second phase. I think the first phase is again, to look at the site plan and get feedback, and assuming council wishes to proceed with approval of a preliminary site plan, the town would then bring it back to city council for final site plan review, as well as review of the terms of a memorandum of understanding.
Thank you. Mr. Garmo, I'd call on you now to please step up, and if you'd be so kind as to introduce yourself to our residents and discuss the Third Amendment plans to the Village Market. We're glad you're here. Thank you very much, sir.
Jacob Garmo, 18330 Mac Avenue. Matt, thank you for explaining most of it, but obviously this is a preliminary site plan request. I handed all you guys some notes as well to kind of follow along, but we are looking to reconfigure this plan. The main purpose of our goal here is for pedestrian safety. Currently, like Matt described, our customers and employees are coming off of McKinley and passing McKinley through the crosswalk to reach parking. This parking lot that we have is going to hopefully redirect the adjacent building, eliminating that crossing. It also formalizes an existing parking area that is currently unpaved and unstriped as well. So hopefully that'll help customers and pedestrians understand the parking. I know right now it's a little tricky right now. So some of the main concerns from what we've had in the last couple resident meetings, as well as some of the concerns that were brought up in McKenna, were the speedy cut through for the residents. We hope that this design alleviates that with the slowdown from off of McKinley, from Mac onto McKinley with that turn. we understand that there was a couple requests for a dead end, but we know that city council and public safety wasn't, kind of in for that, so we came up with this design for the best of our abilities to maybe not make it a dead end, but still sort of slow down traffic from going on to Mac to McKinley. With this design also, like Matt sort of explained, this will kind of encourage our truck delivery drivers that are coming from the alley to make that right turn off of, to McKinley, that area where you see the crosswalk can fit a 52-footer onto Mac, which would be great, so they wouldn't have to go down to McKinley. I think that'll be greatly reduced for cut-through traffic between McKinley and Bridgeable, which is great. One concern that we noted on the McKenna document was the adjacent door that they talked about from the warehouse. It's not shown, it is kind of shown in this drawing, but there is an adjacent door that comes off of the south side of the building onto McKinley. But with this configuration, we have a back door and a front door that will be the only access for that building. So that there won't be any pedestrians that'll be coming right off of that building into McKinley. Kind of talking a little bit about some of the pedestrian safety improvements. I think we talked about, obviously there are plenty of sidewalk, marked crosswalks, and curb separating pedestrians from vehicle traffic, which is not happening right now. And which is very dangerous, and that's what we're trying to alleviate. McKenna had drawn up a total of, I believe it was something along the lines of like 5 additional spots. We had gone through and looked at the parking all the way from the back of the Pilates studio all the way to Moran, and I had sent what the existing parking is from basically the whole plot. With the warehouse, McKinley, Mac Avenue, front lot, back lot, and Moran. Total spots right now from that area all the way to the 5 spots that are along the north side of Moran are 109 spots. With this parking lot, we'll be looking at 134 spots. We did have 136, but the curvature of that turn on the second rendering that came out, we lost a couple spots there. So we have 134 spots, which is an additional 25 spots throughout the whole block. So I know some of the concern was additional parking for other tenants. I think an additional 25 spots would be very helpful, not only for the dentist, Pilates studio, for the law office, but I think it'll help with everybody as well as us as well. So I know Shane, you spoke a little bit about the MOU, so we're not going to get into that too much today, but obviously we're looking to maintain what we have on the parking lot. I think we'll be doing something with a land swap or something along those lines. So, but we can come back to that. But McKinley is just looking to be rerouted. It's not looking to be closed down. It's still going to have an entrance to Mac Avenue. It'll still be have an entrance for all the residents up and down McKinley as well. We're not trying to eliminate that. I think the new design maintains delivery and service access, provides access to the alley. It doesn't create a dead end street, which is what the city council didn't want, but it still kind of gives it, a slower path from McKinley, which is great. Matt, like you mentioned, the landscaping that we have a full landscaping plan with evergreen trees, shrubs, fencing, ornamental grasses. The decorative fencing will provide a visual screen between the parking lot and the public right of way. And that's absolutely everything that we have going on the site. Any questions?
So do city council first.
We're gonna get to some questions in just a moment from council, and then we'll go to members of the public. Before we do that, I'd like to ask Director of our Public Safety, John Hutchins, have you had an opportunity to formally review this plan and whether or not it comports with standards in terms of public safety equipment and the like for ingress and egress out of that area?
Yeah, we have reviewed it. There are a few points of clarification that we need to
we could do it administratively, things like can our fire apparatus be those sometimes? We need to know the width of some of those areas. We need to know the exact placement of where the hydrant's gonna end up. We're gonna need to know the placement of the fire department connection to the building. Those are the points of clarification that we need to get for the design plans for.
Thank you. All right, let's go to questions from members of city council or comments first. And we will start on the left this time with Councilmember Jensen. Sir, any questions or comments?
Comments. I like the plan. Obviously, there's no perfect plan, but anytime a plan is in that increases pedestrian safety, I'm all ears. Particularly coming off of Mac out of McKinley. Last week I went to Ace Hardware and cut across to come up to McKinley there. And there was a father and son getting right across the street, and the dad was more interested in what the coupon or whatever he had was. And I almost hit him. It's congested there all the time. Anybody who shops there knows how badly that's congested in the parking, et cetera. I think this will slow traffic down, particularly coming northbound on McKinley to the alley where you have to make that jut across. I like that. I like to reduce the amount of people crossing McKinley there. It scared the daylights out of me. It was a father and son, and I almost hit him, and I was going slow. They're just looking at other things, and there's a ton of traffic there. So I like the plan. I also agree with Director Hutchins that I'd love to see, I think the fire trucks aren't going to be an issue. I'd love to see where the hookups are, where the hydrant placement is. But as far as the north and south traffic on the McKinley, I think that the angle there will slow it down a lot from coming down Chalfont. Sure, you're going to get some cars that'll be speeding down McKinley from Chalfont as they do on Moran, as they do on the side streets, but we can handle that, I believe, traffic enforcement from the police department. But as far as the vehicles coming through the alley, I would love to see no left turn from the trucks. It gives, I don't know why a truck would want to go left on McKinley there when you have that much of an increased angle and visibility line to go out towards Mac Avenue. So I'd love to see that. Other than that, to me, I think again, it's not a perfect plan, but I think the yays outweigh the nays when it comes to pedestrian and vehicular safety.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Soroka.
Yeah, I generally agree with Councilmember Jensen. My concerns are, number one, the cost of who's bearing the burden of those costs, whether they're, essentially this is a private lot and there's a lot of reconfiguration going on. So I have a question about that. I do think the way that McKinley is kind of pushed to Mac Avenue, I think works in a lot of ways. I am concerned, as it was mentioned in the kind of report, what the side of that building looks like and how the one facing the store is and what kind of, there's no landscaping there, obviously. I'm also a little bit concerned about the parking lot itself. We say I think there are 24 spaces in the lot. That seems awfully tight, especially given the size of modern vehicles. And that I'm kind of curious as to whether or not those spaces will be able to be utilized, to what extent that'll happen. But ultimately, that's a matter of, what the rules are and what can be done there. The other thing that I have a concern about is that there are a number of businesses right along Mac Avenue that had about 6 spots on Mac Avenue that are going to be kind of lost immediately adjacent to them. And so making sure that whatever solution we have here does the least harm to them while also increasing the number of spaces is a priority of mine. And then finally, I am frankly kind of perplexed by the calculations made in the document provided by the market about the number of spots. When the kind of report was very clear, we're essentially only getting 5 spots from this deal. Now I think 5 spots plus the safety for pedestrians, to Councilmember Jensen's point, may make the trade-off worthwhile. But I'd want to better understand the numbers being put forward by the market in terms of the number of spots and just to see what we can do here. But I agree. I think what we've got to get here is what we've got is a really bad intersection, and what we've got to figure out is what will make it less bad and still, answer the needs of the community writ large.
Thank you. Maybe we can pose a couple questions to Mr. Garmo while he is at the podium. Mr. Garmo, is it the intention of Village Market to assume responsibility for the costs associated with the parking lot reconfiguration, I assume? Yes?
Yes.
And-
My attorney isn't here and neither is my engineer as well, so I want to talk to you about those spots as well, but I know we did have a couple, there were a couple discussions about in the MOU, but yes, we would be incurring the cost.
And how about the cost for the street configuration? Replacement of hydrants, things of that nature, the whole thing?
Yeah.
How about quickly picking up on some things, and these were questions in the McKenna report, just, sorry if I'm interrupting anyone, but how about landscaping along the existing warehouse and possibly an update to the fascia, so to speak, or the wall outside of the existing warehouse? What,
The facade for sure is going to be something that we're going to look to redo and re-beautify as well. As you can see in the landscaping, what we have proposed is what we're gonna be looking to do as well. But yeah, we would be incurring as well.
thank you.
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
Please, of course.
One last question was, one of the questions I have, and this gets to the needs of the businesses that are adjacent, is I'd want to understand, and perhaps we'd want to have it in whatever permit or frankly, whatever easement we allow for this, to make it clear that anyone can park in those spaces, not just Village Market customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously a part of Village Market, but it's going to other businesses around. It's made for the surrounding businesses. I mean, even the dentist, the insurance office, everybody that's surrounding us, if they can look up there, they're more than happy.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
You also mentioned something about the lot itself, the 25 spots. So my engineer had the flu today, so that's why he's not here, but these are all to code as far as backing in, backing out, what the spaces are, size wise, what the depths are for everything. So that we don't know, we should be having works.
Mr. Jensen, did you have a follow-up quickly?
One quick one. It was in one of the letters that you received the day. Do you have a parking arrangement with Ace Hardware?
No.
One of the letters said that they were under the impression that 100 employees were supposed to park in Ace Hardware's parking lot. So that's not the case.
No.
Where do your employees park now?
Behind the building or in the warehouse? Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Donovan, please.
Mr. Mayor, all of my questions actually have been answered by the questions that have already been posed by city council members. And I really appreciate the talking points. I did have some information highlighted, but again, it's already been addressed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Councilmember Ritchie.
If you open up my shirt, there's an R in there for retail.
Yeah.
Okay, and I understand the whole situation, but I really have a lot of problems with it. I really do. And we have a problem with the trucks going down McKinley, but that could be really easily corrected by saying you have to turn right when you leave the back of the alley. I just don't know why we're doing all this and what do we hope to gain at the very end? And I just, you run a very successful business. The other store up there on 13 Mile and Harper is very successful. They have plenty of parking there, as you well know. So it's just, it's hard to, it's kind of like taking that person that has a size 12 foot and you're trying to get an 8 slipper on. And it's just a tough sale in my eyes, so.
The majority of why we're doing this is for obviously it's good, it's expanding our parking, but it's a lot of our customers are parking on the offsite, parking by our warehouse.
Yeah.
And they're walking through.
Yeah.
the store. And that's just for us, it's just we'd like to have it all enclosed for safety.
I understand that. I do. And I want to hear more from the public first, but in my mind, it's 2 and 2 is not equaling 4. So.
Councilmember Conrad Wilberding, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir, for coming. We have to do something. There's no question about it. I frequent your store probably twice a week. And I agree with some of the different council members, especially as far as the traffic patterns. And I have to tell you that situation with Ace Hardware and that crossing is, I've almost come into a collision with that myself. I also think that there really needs to be, I was there last Thursday, pulling out through the parking that is adjacent to the building.
Yeah, up along there.
Around, and I think that one of our residents has sent a letter along with this concern as well, that when you try to get out of that parking and go over to Moran, you are at, an accident waiting to happen. And of course, they're happening that. And so I think that that's.
Sorry, out and turning in somewhere from the Mac.
That are coming out and going to
Just going
either
to Mac.
Mac or even to Moran.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's a major hazard. And I don't know if that's within your jurisdiction or within ours. Probably ours.
No, they're way more people.
Yeah, and I also think that the light on Moran needs to be fixed too, and that's a county thing, I understand. So I really do, I agree with Councilman Ritchie that, we need to have retail. And I'm not in agreement that we should mix apples and oranges with your other market that has a lot of parking. I did spend 15 years in Chicago though, with some very successful grocery stores and small grocery stores that had like parking problems. And, they did elevated parking. Now, I don't know if that's absolutely cost prohibitive or if that's not even in the cards. It's probably not. But I do think that some time ago when we had these meetings, months back, and I know many of my council people will probably disagree with me, I asked if there can be a traffic pattern to just make a cul-de-sac, close it off. And I'm not fully convinced that should be out of the equation. And I know that we'll have disagreement with that, but I'm not fully convinced that should be out of the equation. So I'll say no more and look forward to listening to members of our public.
Councilmember Wood.
Hi, Jacob. Thanks for coming. Couple of things. When I came to your open house that you had upstairs at your area up there, I asked you if you could provide a traffic study. Did you ask PEA to do any sort of study on traffic and what the impact on safety, particular car accidents and pedestrian collisions would be?
I did ask them. I'm not sure if it was done from them or if it was done from public safety. So I could follow with them.
Well, I think we need something because I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that safety is important here because it seems like it is, but we don't know if it is or not. We don't know how many conflicts there have been with other vehicles or either on that or on McKinley or anywhere else. And I'd love to know how your design is going to impact safety. Okay, and you're talking about safety, so I think members of the public should know that this is going to be a great plan, not only for Village, it's going to be nice so that people can park close by, but there's going to be, based on the study that's done by an engineer, right, that it's going to be safe as well. Okay, so that's my first question. The no left turn sign was addressed already, going out of the alley going up. And then the last question I've got is on the warehouse, on the facade, this side of the warehouse. Is that a sidewalk?
It's a curb. Yeah,
That's curb only?
I believe it's a sidewalk.
4 foot wide stuff.
Yeah.
Can I ask Matt, John, can I ask Matt a question?
Please, thank you.
Matt, does that represent a conflict for people who are walking along there in the face of traffic coming up? It appears to me that that's unprotected.
It doesn't appear to be connected to anything. It's more just a visual. Yeah, and also to kind of create a little separation from the facade to the road.
From the building to the road.
Yeah, I mean, the intent would be that the crosswalk that's in between Because New McKinley and the parking lot would be the main pedestrian route on that side of the parking.
And so when people are coming up Matt and they take a right into that entrance right there, they're not gonna have to go left a little bit to avoid that strip there, or in any case. See, I'm trying to make sure that there's not gonna be a lady and her little kid right there on that sidewalk waiting for people to go by, and then this guy's not gonna see her, right? And gonna jump over the sidewalk and
Yeah,
have a conflict.
I think it was something, sorry, Councilman, I think it was something that we had, addressed in a couple of our emails about what's happening along that building. Right now, maybe, you know, preliminary, it could be called as a sidewalk, but I'm sure a curb would just be, probably good enough, yeah, I mean.
well, it's hard to visualize in the 2D setting, but I don't think that anybody with employees should ever be going to that building.
Correct, yeah.
So I don't think you would expect residents to be standing there.
Okay.
Although I will say, and that's something we talked about with Deputy Chief Hutchins and Deputy Chief Rogers and Chief Hutchins, is that when you're turning right, because where the loading space is supposed to be, that could have a potential for some confusion right there. Because there's a truck parked right there, especially a large one, and you're turning in. So right now, part of the proposal is to add a roll-up door right here.
There is a roll door.
Okay, so there is a roll-up door, so you might have a truck here while cars are turning in, and I think that, you know, that creates a blind spot, because if there's a car coming this way and you have to loop around that truck, that could be.
Right. I think what we had called for on the actual drawings is the loading zone is in the back.
Okay, because there is an X on one of the drawings.
Yeah, it's on the back, and it doesn't look out, yeah.
Well, Matt, can you, if we pass this tonight, can you make sure that you address those particular issues, when we're passing the final site plan review? Okay, John, no more.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr. Garmo, I just have a couple questions of you before we hear from our great residents. Do you anticipate any changes to the store itself, the entranceway, anything like that as a result of this proposed plan? For instance, moving the main entrance door over along McKinley to be more in line with the new parking lot, so to speak? Any proposed changes to the outside of the store itself?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the way that this lines up is actually perfect for our entrances. We will be losing that area up front. But it'll be kind of be a perfect unison for where all the customers should come from the north and the south side.
Perfect, thank you. Did you see in the McKenna report where it was recommended that further investigation in terms of traffic counts and origin determination patterns and the like be done before any formal approval is made? Are you willing to undertake such a report for the benefit of the city? Thank you. And my last question is with regard to ownership. Is it your proposal that the portion of McKinley Avenue to be vacated, that will be a new parking lot, become property of the Village Market, and that the street remain county or city property?
Yes, I mean, I believe right now what we'd be doing is, and again, bigger here, you know, would be a land swap. So, yeah, we would keep McKinley as Grosse Pointe Farms. Park lot.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna, thank you for your time. We're going to hear from residents or other interested people at this point. Before we, yes, sir.
It might save a little time, a little headache. I reiterate on what I said before. I was an audience member. Several years ago, maybe before John was hired, Bob Ferber, we made that a closed cul-de-sac. We put up barricades. The McKinley Road residents came in, they had had enough of the traffic, and we know there's a lot of traffic, no doubt about it. So we met with them and we agreed no problem. So it was one of two locations. The other one was on Mason behind Mr. A's. But that one, we put up a temporary barricades with a shield. The residents requested it. We did it if we were gonna do it for a year, whatever, I don't even believe it lasted 8 months. The complaints that came in from the residents, because you don't understand it until it really affects you. When you put on restrictions on the street you live on, you restrict yourself more than anybody. So now people couldn't get through on McKinley into their own street unless they went all the way around Miranda, Chalfont, or came in the other way on Lincoln to Chalfont, came all the way down Chalfont. So Beth, to your comment on that, it was a fiasco and it went over like a lead balloon. So that was then, maybe it'd be different now.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
I
let's,
want to get
let's,
into debate with this council, but I disagree with him on some different things, particularly since the length of time that happened before. And also that this is a different situation as we're looking at it today. With this configuration, it's different than it was 8 years ago. In fact, I think it was longer than that. So may I table that debate and I'd like to hear from the audience.
yes, absolutely. Thank you. All right, Mr. Garmo, thank you. And for the record, I'm going to ask our city clerk, I'm going to recognize first that we received at least 3 written comments. I'd ask that these be placed into the record. I know they were passed along to us by city administration. Mr. Kenneth Michaud offered written comments, as did Mr. Andy Murphy, as did Mr. Jason and Ms. Jennifer Crick, K-R-I-C-K, as did Ms. Maureen Finnegan. Those those comments are very much appreciated. They'll become a part of the permanent record. Now I'd invite one by one interested persons who want to speak for the podium, as is required by the Open Meetings Act. Please come forward. Give us your full name, spelling your last name, please, and your address. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for having us. My name is Maureen Finnegan. My home address is 444 McKinley. I, like many of you, are very frequent visitors to the village market. I do have some ideas that have come from many of our neighbors. First, I'll just talk to, for everyone to know, this is our street. We're giving up parts of our street. So that is hard for a lot of us because we want to make sure it works correctly for everyone. Jacob did speak about safety. What is not being spoken about is the safety of our kids on McKinley, which is very, this is crucial. I love what you spoke about. I will talk to you, one of the neighbors. 2 of the neighbors are original neighbors that were part of that blockage at the end of the street. They loved it. They said there was an attorney involved. It didn't last long. It wasn't because of the neighbors. They said it was something else. If we could look into that, that would be lovely. But there are some people that still live in McKinley that were part of that. So just so you guys know, that's the cul-de-sac. You mentioned about the no left turn out of the alley. I'd like to add to that, instead of no left turn out of the alley, something to consider, and we'd like to, I don't know how to go about asking for this because we really need to have this happen more sooner than later. No commercial vehicle sign that they must enter Chalfont. We're not blocking them. It's the traffic coming from Mac to Chalfont that everyone takes a shortcut through. They're leaving our market, going to the market here in Grosse Pointe South. It's constant traffic going that way. We need the Amazon trucks, guys. They do come. We're not preventing commercial traffic. Just don't want it to come from the alley to Chalfont. I mean, we really need it to come Chalfont to the alley. And that way we prevent anyone who is going to come from the alley. They can't make a left turn. But also anyone coming from McKinley, they can't come down McKinley. They're going to have to enter Chalfont. That's the way it needs to be looked at. If that's okay for you guys to consider, I don't really know how to propose that, but it's more or less preventing commercial traffic coming in. So that's just one thing to say. Landscaping plan. Love the idea, but a lot of my neighbors, including myself, have very small vehicles that are on the ground. This past summer, and I will speak to Jacob for this, we did have some of his grass that grew really tall. If that grass is along the fence, guys, that creates a new block. We can't see over the fence. We can't see over the grass that's too tall. We can't see over a bush that might have grown past 30 inches. So we have to take that into consideration, that maybe not all this landscaping is going to be a good thing for us. We have to remember it has to be trimmed and kept up. And sometimes it just does go too long. It's the nature of one landscape is all about. So there is that. I want to confirm that what's in that drawing is right turn only out of that parking structure, that parking lot. We cannot have traffic trying to make a left-hand turn out of that lot. That lot is going to prevent people. They're going to be backed up on Mac, trying to get to McKinley from Mac, making a right-hand turn because they're waiting for somebody to make a left-hand turn to get it to a parking spot in Village Market. That is a traffic pattern we need to look at. We need to look at how it's gonna go around, what blockage we're going to see coming from McKinley to Mac and from Mac to McKinley, waiting on people to turn left and right. And I know, guys, this is all just an idea to think about, but those are the things that are gonna stop people coming and going. We're gonna block up McKinley even more than we are today. So those are just some ideas. Potentially a speed bump. It's just an idea. My husband's not for it, but I'm bringing it up. We have a Corvette. It's not a great idea for us, but we're gonna mention it.
That was discussed in our engineer's report.
Traffic enforcement. I still have not received any vehicle counts or speed limits, guys. They put a thing out there. We've received nothing. We don't know what it is, but we know that the nice day that the police officers came out, they couldn't have unmarked cars because they were in the shop. So they had marked cars, sitting on McKinley, talked to them, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna slow it down. So we need to be an honest perspective on what people are doing down. That's I'm gonna table the lights to just a second, but I wanna make sure that on the sidewalk that is lovely in the drawing, that there are no cars, no plants, no fruit stand on the sidewalk, because that will also relieve traffic. If it comes out to the very end, and if they're gonna use it for carts, we're not gonna clear anything up. I mean, I took commercial when I was young, carts are everywhere, so I totally get that we need carts. But we've gotta figure out where the carts are gonna be put, because now I have to see the sidewalk, and I don't see an area where the carts are going to go. And then if we're going to put, and I do love the fruit stands, and I do love the flowers, and I do love everything that's being sold right now, but it's blocked. So we have to make sure we're keeping people really safe. This is about safety. The only other question I had, two other questions, was the number of times per day to access the loading. So if they truly are accessing the loading from Mac, I know how many times I have people coming and going for my loading. So how many times a day could there potentially be someone at that front loading deck, not the back, but the front, but could the back also propose a problem? I don't know, but it's just something to bring to light and you did bring this to light, and I'm sorry, his name is not worded out. You're going.
Rebecca.
Thank you. And yes, you did bring it to light. The last thing is the lights. Never received last correspondence on the lights. And yes, I understand the lights are a safety thing, but I don't know if there was a permit that should have been pulled or permission that should have been asked. But the lights are very bright and they are creating problems for our neighbors on the brand as well as McKinley. The only thing I want to ask council is I love the village market, but I don't think we should have to be stopping them every time they're doing something. But I think they need to ask or find out how it's going to impact McKinley. Because I still feel like that second floor is going to be an issue down the road, guys. And I don't want it to be where it's giving permission after the fact. Let's ask up front. Let's be honest. Let's all talk about everything that's going on. And let's say, what is the future plan? Where are we going with this? And that is all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Finnegan. We appreciate your attendance and your comments. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, may I request, because she put a lot on the record,
Mhm.
that if it's not submitted in writing, if she would please submit it in writing, so that way we have all her points.
I'm sure she'd be happy to.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with regard to your question regarding the sidewalk, I mean, this isn't give and take, so to speak, question and answer between council now. Our duty is to listen. We've had positive discussions with Village Market about the sidewalk issue and carts in the past, and they have pledged and remedied any situation with blocking any egress or walkways or sidewalks whatsoever using anything in the past. And that conversation was held maybe 6-7 months ago. Who else would like to speak, please? Thank you. Good evening. Name, spell your last name, please, and your address.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Council
Good evening.
members, all others, my name is Tamara Bobby, Baubie. I am the co-owner of Tower Therapeutic Fitness and Wellness with Romina Profata. So I'm here to represent us. We are the building that is right adjacent to Enterprise Rent-A-Car, kind of the darker gray roof on that schematic there. So I'd just like to say that we appreciate the current relationship that we have with Village Market and the city of Grosse Pointe Farms. And we do wish to collaborate and support a parking and traffic solution that improves parking for all businesses and residents in the surrounding area. For this current plan, if the goal is to reduce traffic speed, increase safety related to intersection at Mac and McKinley, and shift parking from the south side of McKinley to the north side of McKinley, this proposal does seem to fit that bill. It does seem to be some question what the net gain of parking spaces is. I'm hearing one story from Jacob and the report says 5 net gain. I also think that the gravel lot is a little hard to assess. You can go at any different time of day and it's kind of like the wild, wild west because there's not any line stripes or anything like that. So I did this little informal study this last week and counted, and across 4 days, varying times of the day, it seems like there are about 17 vehicles in the gravel lot. If that actually are zoned for 21 spaces in the gravel lot, then maybe that's a swap that makes sense. However, I think it might be a good idea to do an assessment of that gravel lot because I have seen it where there are more people in the lot than 17. And I think it could even sometimes encroach upon 22 or 23. And I've seen people blocking in other cars. So if that is the case, then you're not doing an even swap of 21 to 23 as proposed. So getting a real handle on actually the net gain of spaces might be a good idea. Also, I don't personally feel that the spaces behind all our establishments should be counted in the available spaces. They're usually used for employees and not really for public that are visiting our establishments. So just an aside on that. We too are very concerned about safety of our patrons. In any one day, we may have between 40 to 50 people that come to our establishment. And the salon next door, I'm not sure how many people come to Leo's in a day, but I can tell you, I watch them come in and out. Many of them are very elderly, using wheelchairs, walkers, trying to traverse the area. So if we're considering pedestrian safety, I would just like to say that, of course, there are more people coming in and out of Village Market than there are the 4 businesses on the other side of McKinley. However, in this plan, we're moving all of the parking except for 4 public spaces to the north side of McKinley. And I would propose that the 50 to 60, 70 people between all of our businesses that are coming in and out, we should also consider their pedestrian safety. And at this point, unless they get one of those 4 spots, they're having to cross McKinley. Now, it probably is safer than it is currently. I will agree with that. But we do have elderly people that are trying to access our establishments, and the last version had 10 spots on our side. Now, I know that that didn't account for something that reduced the speed of people going on to McKinley. But from that perspective, it was a little more amenable to us because there were parking spots available for people on the south side of it. So I would just like the council to consider, if it is only 5 additional parking spaces, is this a meaningful increase to accommodate parking for Village Market and the surrounding businesses? Is the net gain of 5 spaces, now safety might be worth it for the construction and the cost. And then I do also want to say, what is the plan to limit the impact of businesses while the parking lot's being constructed? We don't know how long this construction is going to take, and timing is relevant for us. As our business is reduced in July and August because of our patrons being at their cottages and on vacation and holiday. So if there were the ability to try to do this at a time when we don't have as much foot traffic, that would be great. And I think one of the things that concerns us the most is the discussion of a permanent easement to be created that states that all of the patrons and the businesses around Village Market would have access to all of the spaces that are there to protect our future interests. Because what happens in 5 or 10 years, not to say that you're going to do this, Jacob, but what happens in 5 to 10 years if they're purchased by another person and the council is different and things are different at that point? So we would really request that there would be an easement that would clearly state that all of our businesses have access to all of the parking in the surrounding area.
Thank you, Ms. Bobby, very, very much for your attendance and for your comments. Who else would like to speak, please?
I think, let me, Chip Stever, 463 McKinley. 30 resident. Just a couple of questions. Who's responsible for the maintenance of the alley? If anybody,
The city.
you know, has-
City of Grosse Pointe Farms.
okay, because the alleys, I mean, if you go by them right now, you can see the fence is almost down in a couple spots. There's nothing that's been cleaned up. I mean, that's an ongoing situation. And I just look, it's a total mess, and I just like I said, I've got questions for you. Do we know? So will it get cleaned up?
It should. Look, I know a lot of us make a point of driving through there and looking because of issues. Last time I was out there was in October, quite frankly, and everything appeared to be fine. But, businesses along are required to maintain their own refuse and dispose of it properly and anything else associated with their business. So we'll be happy to have a look at it and we'll do it promptly.
We had a number of buildings in St. Clair Shores and they were out like that. I mean, the weeds got that tall and the anything like that. So I just,
We'll be out there promptly and we'll get right back to you, sir.
the other thing is there been a traffic study ordered?
No, sir, not yet.
What, do we know what's going across the street next to Ace?
Yes, a car wash.
Well, doesn't that kind of, I mean, I know we have to cooperate with Detroit. Shouldn't we be a little bit more comprehensive about what this I mean, you're gonna, when anybody goes to, I look, Mr. C's on a good day, you see all the cars in the street.
One of the questions I asked Mr. Garmo a few minutes ago is whether he'd be willing to undertake a traffic study. It was requested by our engineer. A comment that I made at a meeting a month or so ago was that with the new culverts going in, with a new Chick-fil-A going in, with a new car wash and the like, Mac Avenue is going to become increasingly congested. Not only our residents, but other locals. It's going to pose issues for our Department of Public Safety and others. So yes, we are going to look into
Is
that.
there an open line to the city of Detroit for that kind of stuff? I mean, or is it just, yeah?
No, there's not.
There's no, that's right.
The relations are good, but we're going to do our own request.
I really think that needs to be addressed also.
Yes, sir.
Because I think the other questions I had too is what is the upstairs capacity? 82. I mean, what's gonna happen with, when there's parties, events, that kind of nature with the park?
We're not, this is a cop-out. We're not addressing that question tonight.
Okay.
We do know that I assume that will be a proposal made by Mr. Garmo and his colleagues in the not too distant future.
But certainly with a, the restaurant and event center, I mean, when you've got people shopping on a busy Friday or Saturday night and at the holidays, we're already at max capacity on the holiday weekend or leading up to the holidays. If you drive down McKinley, you'll see people who are there.
Mr. Stever, you're absolutely right. We've had very preliminary discussions on the record about what the parking requirements would be of such. I remember Councilman Ritchie asked questions about that many months ago, and I know there'll be more going forward.
Does the county approve this yet or?
No, no, sir.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Stever. Good evening, sir. Mr. O'Neill.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Timothy O'Neill, O apostrophe N E I O L, 405 McKinley, 2 houses off of Shelf. One of my concerns is that if this plan goes through, it's going to direct traffic on residents on McKinley past our house. I can't believe that we've got to this stage, and I understand as of yet, not one traffic engineer has reviewed this. I've been to 2 or 3 of these meetings. I hear anecdotal suggestions about doing this or doing that. There are experts that deal with this issue. Why don't we have somebody look at it and give us a recommendation? Is this really the best we could do? Will we be here discussing safety, but for Village Market? I don't think so. Let's pay the piper, have it done correctly, because whatever is done there is going to be there for 25 to 50 years. Thank you.
Your attendance and comments are much appreciated, Mr. O'Neill. Thank you. Who else would like to speak on this? Sir, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sure, we can do both. MCD, GALL, at 469 Rand. All for all of this, and I'm just concerned about the people as well that turn into the parking that only right coming out, you see that first spot. Someone like me would be like, oh yeah, first spot, and I'll turn right in there and totally disregard traffic laws. The cops probably already know. Some tickets. And people do that. You can see how they park already. There's that one here. People are parking in the middle, parking in front of the entrance. So I think it's in front of Trader Joe's. They have maybe on that coming out a like an arm that floats up down. Then as you go over these points, it's slower, maybe I'll stop. So take a look. It's more safe. Like, hey, maybe we should put an arm if we can, or a enter. Something to protect, because I live at 469 right, so I'm the second house. There are times I've driven to Village Market and I've been rear-ended. Some lady hit me when there's 3 cars in the lot. I decided to drive a new truck and she gouged it back right into me. I mean, there's so much we could do, but I think like an arm so that people know one way instead of arrows, especially right now with all the salt. I think to protect that and the people. And then to Miss Beth's point, I also live in Chicago and Elmhurst, and an idea, now I know a car wash is going there, but a tunnel underneath. I don't know how much that is, but thinking outside of the crosswalk in that, they had in Elmhurst a tunnel under one random road and random street. God knows how much that costs, but you point it this way between the two and people can walk across, well, underneath. Just something to think like, hey, maybe we can add somewhere else, but I live down Moran, so I mean, I just put up with this stuff. I'm all for this. I think this is a great plan, but rock is not gonna protect somebody hitting it. Cause I've also been hit here and twice in Grosse Pointe. And a boulder, it's like, oh, I hit a boulder before. So I think an arm to block and just people know like, okay, you can't come in here. You can't race and turn in and get this spot even though you see it. Maybe say, hey, 3 spots left, 2 spots, 0. Maybe that affects the landscape, but just something to protect the people. That's just what I'm throwing out there, I guess.
Mr. McDougall, thank you for your attendance and for your comments. They're very much appreciated, sir. Who else, please? Sir, good evening.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Jeff Murphy.
Merry Christmas.
My name is Mike Reminar, I live at 468 McKinley.
Spell your last name, please, Mike. Spell your last name, please.
REMENAR.
REMEN. Thank you.
And I'm glad to see that we got some, a new proposal up there from who was up there before. It was getting kind of myopic there. The one thing, well, also glad to see that pedestrian traffic has been brought up, which wasn't mentioned any time before, which I thought was a little bit odd, but what I have, the problem I have with this proposal is that it's still dumping traffic onto McKinley out of the parking lot. I would rather see it dump onto Mac, the entrance and exit off the parking lot. Short of that, if they want to go with, say, this proposal, the turn coming out, the exit for that parking lot, they should make something that drives traffic to the right rather than just going straight on. You can't, it should go to the right. Those are my, being a designer, I look at things that way. And, that's what I see. That's what, thank you.
Mr. Reminar, thank you, and thank you for your service as well, sir. Good evening. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Who's next? Ma'am, please come forward.
Better hurry.
Put up one of these at everybody's seat. I live right behind Village Market.
Name and address. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
JCC. And what else do I have to tell you?
Your address, please.
478 McKinley. And, the first picture here, I happen to be home Wednesday, teleworking. And I watched a truck hit my bushes. And if you look at the pictures, the very last page shows you, I'm missing about a third of my bushes. And this goes over, the trucks try to pull in there and they can't. And then the dancing on the bottom page, so this is what they eventually do, is break my bushes apart. And I've asked before to have them replaced. And now I think that all of them, because these places, the city of Village Market, the stop sign, these trucks try to turn, if you look at this picture here, they try to turn and they can't, because that stop sign's there. So they hit my bushes, and this guy, on the second page, I ran out there, and he said, I didn't hurt your bushes. I said, it doesn't matter. If you hit them enough, I miss a third of them. And I took a picture here where he slept for probably 15 minutes and then backed up and went down McKinley and went on to Moran. What I would like to see, I would like to see my, I put something up there, a dirt wall. Because my property is getting destroyed. And I would like to ask if the council could make that alleyway a one-way for trucks only, for taking Moran and exiting McKinley. This is just drives me nuts, because I take very good care of my house. And the fence out in front was starting to lean over from the trucks. And Village Market, he got his one employee to come in, they put a stake in and he straightened it, fixed it. But we'd like to at least think about that, and I wanted to, like, if they're gonna beautificate all this here, you can afford to put some bushes in my property, because I miss, like I said, I miss some of them, and it's just gonna get worse, every year there's more. And then and that's my property, and if you want to hit my fence, they're not gonna get over. Thanks.
Ms. Kazizi, thank you very much for your attendance and for your comments. Anyone else? Sir, please.
Somebody else?
Good evening.
Good evening, my name is Charles Phelps, speaking from LTZ 354 McKinley. This is the first meeting I've been to for this, because I saw the thing in the mail about 10 days ago, so I had not seen any other previous meetings, so if I'm asking something that's already been answered, I apologize. I have a few questions. In this proposal, is there gonna be more than a few stop signs, like when they're coming towards Mac on McKinley, they're gonna stop before they hit the alley, then stop again, and vice versa? It's not just a complete from where McKinley is, where it is now, all the way to Mac. Anybody answer that?
We don't have that kind of detail yet, sir.
Okay. The other thing too is, did anybody ask, I understand there's you're dealing with Wayne County, but like the biggest problem we have today is when everybody comes down McKinley, instead of just making an easy right turn and going where they need to go, everybody wants to cut through to go to Ace or whatever. One of the easiest solutions, if we're totally on safety, is just to get Wayne County or wherever we need to clear hurdles with, just to fill in that boulevard, so they gotta go all the way around and, because obviously, like, if you're going to these car wash, you can't make a U-turn, and Kirby, you gotta go towards Coney Island and make a left turn there. Maybe you go past the light at Rand, and you make a left turn right by the Flagstar Bank, or something like that.
Interestingly enough, I just overheard Councilmember Wood say it. Our former mayor, Mayor Louis Theros, raised that same issue. I think they brought it up and,
Yes, we have, this plan, I think this plan, Matt, or the prior plan has gone to Wayne County. I mean, it was not a formal review. But, that was one of the things they've talked about is actually, creating that, where you're changing the alignment of the cut through between the northbound and southbound, Mac lanes. So it would force you to do, like a turnaround, not try to cut through.
Did they, say no to that?
No, they were okay with that.
they want to see a final.
I think if you do that right there, of course, yeah, I'd love to go straight to Ace from my house, but I have to go. That would solve a lot of your problems right there. If the main focus on this meeting is, I think that's the easiest to do. That, and
you know, if you weren't making these changes, you're staying with the current alignment. When you come to the end of McKinley and you're ready to turn on Mac, whatever, you don't have a great visual line of sight because there's so many cars parked parallel on McKinley. You know, whether you're like Grosse Woods, you get the yellow paint out, you say you gotta move 50 feet back before you park, so you have a better line of sight of the cars coming towards you. I think that might help as well, but that was something I was thinking of. If this project were to move forward, once it's greenlit through all the meetings and whatnot, do we have a time frame of how long it would take? Because obviously you'd have to close McKinley to reconfigure this.
We don't know yet. That would come with, site plan issues, things of that nature. Once a prospective bidding goes out, when that takes place, we really don't have a good answer for you on that yet.
I'm guessing, I'm not an engineer, probably at least 6 months.
It would take, I suspect, at least 6 months.
At least one, okay. Regarding utilities, gas lines, sewer lines, water lines, would all those need to be reconfigured too, or they just run underneath the parking lot or to connect to where they're going on together?
Mr. Reeside, please.
Yeah, no, I think the intent we would maintain a utility easement, so those utilities would be underneath that parking lot and be accessible by the city.
Otherwise, I think everything that I had was answered, but thank you.
DePels, thank you very much for your attendance, for your comments, sir. Anyone else? Thank you. Okay, now, as I noted at the very beginning, we are not voting on anything this evening formally. The only question is whether or not city council is interested in having further dialogue with Village Market subject to these. Mr. Garmo, if you could come back up, please. And I don't want to speak, but I guess these are some of the major issues if city council is inclined to move forward. First, we'd like you to look into issues of landscaping. We'd like you to definitely retain the services of a traffic engineer that is approved, the name of the company approved by both the city of Grosse Pointe Farms and you at your expense to undertake a thorough traffic study with regard to the issues raised in the McKenna report, if you would. That would be reviewed by city administration, including, of course, our Department of Public Safety. We'd like you to address the issues with regard to parking for the other businesses and how they would be impacted or not impacted by your proposed plans. And the method of ingress and egress of vehicles out of the parking lot with regard to more specific comments, please, about no left-hand turn out of the proposed new parking lot onto McKinley, signage in the alley, whether you're willing to make the alleyway, or whether you would allow in favor of the city making the alleyway one way from Moran to McKinley. Does anyone else have any proposed conditions that they would like him to review or any hard objection to Mr. Garmo addressing those conditions and coming back on a date to be selected once we receive that information from him?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I have a question and a comment. If Mr. Guillermo received these recent letters.
Have you received the comments of the neighbors in writing?
No.
Okay, I will give you a copy of those this evening. They are all a matter of public record, of course. They're subject to provisions of the Freedom of Information Act. Anyone can ask for them and we will get you a
I
copy.
think we have extra copies.
Beautiful.
And also going forward, should we receive any more, that he receives those timely as well.
That's fair.
And then the next, I just have a comment on his summary talking points, because I believe this is what we all strive to do. The city council, Department of Public Works, department, all the departments, as well as our resident and business owners. At the bottom, he says, and we'll strike out the proposal since it's ongoing, strikes the balance between business needs, public safety, and neighborhood concerns. Because Mr. Mayor, one thing you do so well when our residents come before us and businesses, whatever is at the table, you always emphasize this. What we do is do everything in a cooperative spirit, and you're always so appreciative when our residents come before us with their concerns as well as businesses, and then what we have to say here individually and collectively as council people. So I just wanted to bring that to the council's attention as well as the neighbors, resident and business owners, that's really what we're all about. And thank you for your patience.
Yep, no, thank you, Councilmember Donovan. With that, Mr. Garmo, you will be in touch with Mr. Reside and Mr. Bach in the near future. I think you have your direction. We are willing to consider this going forward. The next time will probably be for the benefit of the public on the agenda. I'm not sure, maybe February, March agenda. It won't obviously be January. February is a little crowded already, depending how quick you can get a traffic study done. It should not, of course, be done on one of the holiday weekends coming up. They'll pick a good time and we will get the results. They'll be communicated to administration, to the residents, and then everyone, we will schedule this for a preliminary site plan review that will be voted on by city council following the next steps. Does it make sense to everyone out there? Just anyone? Good, Mr. Garmo, we appreciate you. We appreciate as well, of course, all the residents that came, that gave us comments in writing, that called me, and others as well. The process requires it, and we're not going to stray from the process. Fair enough? Thank you. Good evening. We have one more item on the agenda. It's consideration number 4, consideration. I'll just wait for Mr. Garmo to leave the podium. Consideration of a request to approve an annual permit of the County of Wayne. Mr. Reside, please.
This is, in fact, an annual permit that's required for allowing the city to do work within county right-of-ways. We apply every year, and we're asking that to do so again this year.
Is there any questions by members of City Council?
No.
Any public comment on this proposed agreement with the County of Wayne? Hearing no public comment, is there a motion to approve the annual permit between the City of Grosse Pointe Farms and Wayne County? Motion by Ms. Donovan, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Soroka. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Is there any other public comment on any issue on the agenda or off the agenda? Any city council comment?
Mayor, I hate to bring up a stinky situation, but
Yes.
my family happened to be just on Moran Road. My brother lives on 401 Moran Road. And they couldn't believe the smell just this last weekend. And this is winter time. Is there an update on what can be done? Because that smell is spreading.
So with two things, twofolds. One is, as I mentioned last week, the Southeast Macomb Sanitary District is conducting their own analysis of their county pump station, or the Southeast Macomb pump station. And so they've had different experts come in and to deal with odor control. And so they'll be coming in with recommendations. They've also committed to further replacement of filters within that station. That's anticipated to be done in January, where it takes some lead time to get the materials ordered and replaced. It's a fairly significant project. So that's on that end. On the other end, on the city's end, we've also have asked Hubbell Roth Clark to do an analysis of our own facility. So we don't think we're the source of it, but we could be a contributing factor just because of the dry conditions we've had over the last few months. And so they've already been out on site and have looked at the facility. They're coming back with other odor control experts to view it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Reside. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other council members' questions?
John, I have a
What?
question for Shane. You talked about this last week, about the sewer separation project, but maybe you could bring us up to speed in general, how we're doing, are we on time? How are things looking, the contracts that we have out there, maybe folks that would like to know how we're doing and what's the status?
Good. We are making very good progress. We are on schedule. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule as it relates to the force main or the force main going through Country Club property. We are now at Apollos. I think we're winding down for the holidays, and so we're trying to limit disruption during the holidays and doing some cleanup now. We've actually started some of the restoration work. Really, the last portion of the force main and gravity sewer will be completed in January. It's really a relatively small section at the entrance of the Country Club Detroit, and we've agreed with the club that we would hold off on any work that would obstruct that roadway until after the holidays. So that's going forward. In terms of the next phase, as you know, at our last meeting, we approved site plan approval for the new pump station facility. We're about 90+% completed with the engineering for the actual separation of the southwest quadrant. So those bids are likely will be going out in January of next year with award shortly thereafter.
Great.
And I would encourage and thank administration for the updates on the Facebook page in the city and the city's website, which gives updated progress reports as well. Mayor Pro Tem Soroka.
Yeah, number one, just want to remind folks that the ice rink is open. That was a big question in the last couple of weeks, and that was announced on Friday. I did, sorry, Mr. Garmo was gone, but I just want to, for public clarification, we got a couple of emails in last week about the light situation at Village Market, and just it sounded like there was some issues that were obviously residents were having issues with them, but then it sounded like Public Services said there were some problems with the lights, and so what's the status of that situation, and how are we rectifying it for residents?
So.
Mr. Baca, please.
As Shane mentioned to you guys in his email, I was looking at the wrong lights. They have lights on the back of their building, which are very nice. They're pointing down, and we'll call cut-off light fixtures. And then I realized, because when the email I received had the picture attached to it, so I went out and looked again, and I saw that there were big lights that were basically at maybe a 45 to a 30-degree angle, just blasting your house with light. So I told him, guys, this wasn't reviewed. There are standards in the ordinance about how lights, parking lot and security lighting needs to be installed. I said, hey, until we get a full review of this, number one, you have to straighten them out so that they're horizontal to the ground to reduce glare and ambient light that shoots to the neighbor. Then you have to turn them off when you're not mobile. I think I was like, this is our starting point. And from that point, then, if we need to get a photometric that actually demonstrates how the intensity of light, where it's going, and we can do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council members? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:17 PM, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilman does support. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Great meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Burgess.